I've been dreaming, I've been dreaming, I've been dreaming.
So I have just arrived at Coolangatta in Queensland. It's 10 o'clock in the morning, so I'm probably going to be playing in the 1 o'clock flight today. There are 2 flights, there's another one at 7. It's a $150 buy-in with a $50,000 guaranteed prize pool. Last time that they had it, it paid about $15,000 first, plus a $600 QPC main event ticket. The plan for today is to head out to Seagulls Club, which is in Tweed Heads West, hopefully make day 2 and hopefully make some sort of a cash tomorrow. We made it to the first break. We haven't had a very good start. Basically, we've lost half of our start stack already. We started with 30,000, we're down to 15. We won our first pot an hour and 20 minutes in. So in this hand here, the blinds are 25.50. We're just coming to the end of the first blind level and we have not played or raised a hand yet. We've only played hands from the blinds. I was getting to a point here where I wanted to get involved in something. I wanted to try and take down a pot. I finally found what I thought would be an okay spot to open a hand. We looked down at the Jack of Spades and the Queen of Hearts from under the gun. So I decided to open it up to 150. We get a call from a gentleman in middle position, a call from a player in the hijack, and the big blind decides to come along as well. So we go 4 ways to the flop. The flop comes down the King of Clubs, the 10 of Diamonds, and the 7 of Hearts. So we flop an open-ended straight draw, and I decide to c-bet for 325. Both of the gentlemen in the hand decide to call. So turn comes down the 6 of Hearts. This time I decide to bet 1100. The next player to act folds, and the other player in the hand looks like he decides to pop it up a bit. He makes it 2500. I thought about it for about 2 seconds and then I made the call. Unfortunately for us, the river came down the 3 of clubs, so we missed our open-ended straight draw. I decided to check it over to old mate. He fires out another 3,000 and I let that one go. He takes that pot down. So I didn't get any footage of this hand. This is one of the ones that I probably could have played a little bit more aggressively. I didn't play it aggressively at all. I played it very, very, very passively. Blinds were 50, 100. We had about 22k at this point, and we have pocket sixes in the big blinds. 4 players limp in. It comes around to us, and I decide to just check. So after this hand, I started to get an idea of the sort of hands that some of these players were playing out of position and limping in with. I played this hand very, very, very passively. We should have played it aggressively. We should have popped it up, but we didn't. Anyway, we have pocket sixes in the big blind. We decide to just check, so we go 5 ways to the flop. Flop comes down 893 rainbow. We check it. A player in early position leads out for 600. 2 players call and I decide to fold my pocket sixes. Turn comes the 6. So if we had have popped it up pre-flop, we would have been c-betting the flop. We probably would have got a few calls and we would have binked the 6 on the turn. So that's a little bit unfortunate. As played, it was checked around. So they get to see a river card for free, which comes down an offsuit 5. So there were no completed flushes. This time early position leads out for 800. 1 player calls and the player in early position rolls over 8-10 offsuit. So he paired up his 8 there, he took that pot down, the other player just mucked his hand. So yeah, after this hand I started trying to play a little bit more aggressively just to try and push some of the players off who were limping in with mediocre hands in early position. And for the most part it worked. I was getting a few calls from a couple of players, they'd just limp in. You know, I'd raise it up quite a bit to try and push some of them off. As soon as one of them would call, others felt as if they were priced in to play along as well. You know, that happens. You've just got to try and adjust to that when you've got players like that on your table, which is fine. We eventually got some sort of game plan going. Alright, so we're finally getting to the part of the tournament where we start building up a little bit of a chip stack. 1 hour and 20 minutes in, we finally take down our first pot. So I'm in middle position and I look down at ace-10 offsuit. I decide to open it up for 800. The blinds were 150, 300 at this point, and we had about 15k behind still. Small blind and the big blind decide to call. So flop comes down ace queen 6 rainbow, and I decide to c-bet for 1100. Small blind calls us and the big blind folds. Turn comes down and offsuit 4, so he checks it over to us, and this time I decide to bet 3k. He actually says to us that we deserve to finally win one, and he open folds king queen. So in this hand here, we finally get that double up that we've been looking for. Blinds were still 150, 300, but we had about 18k behind at this point. We were on the button with king jack offsuit. One lady decides to limp in. So she's been limp calling raises a lot and then folding to c-bets on the flop. So I decide that I'd like to try and build up a little pot while I'm playing in position against her. So we decide to raise it up to 900. The small blind, the big blind, and the lady limper all decide to come along. Flop comes down king jack 7 with 2 diamonds. So we flop top 2. The small blind decides to lead out for 3k, and the big blind just flats. The lady throws her hand away, and now I had to decide whether or not I wanted to shove here or just flat call and hope that a diamond doesn't roll off. Both had a lot of chips behind them, so I thought if one of them has a flush draw, I'm probably going to be getting a call here either way. So I went for the shove. Small blind tank folds, and then big blind goes into the tank as well. He eventually started talking, saying, "Oh, should I gamble? I don't know if I want to take the risk." So I thought, yeah, he's got the flush draw. I'm probably pretty low since he hasn't snap called us yet. I actually started talking back to him. I said, well, yeah, you got a flush draw. I think I did want to call at this point. I was at the point where, you know, I needed to double up. I was happy to race against a flush draw with top 2 pair. He eventually made the call and he rolled over 8-5 of diamonds, so he had a little baby flush draw there. Lucky for us, we turned another king, leaving him drawing dead, and we got a double up through.
I've been dreaming. I've been dreaming.
So I made it through to the second break. I have about 15 big blinds. I won a few pots in the session we just had. Lucky thing is I've only had to show my cards I think twice for the whole day. So we've been getting a lot of sneaky moves through. Basically when we go back it's going to be all in or fold again, which I don't mind because that means there's no decisions to make. So unfortunately we busted 40 minutes before day 2. We're in the small blind with about 10 bigs. It was folded around to us and we shoved into the big blind with ace-9 offsuit, and he woke up with ace-jack and his ace-jack held. So GG. Apparently there's a $330 high roller game tomorrow at Seagulls Club. Not sure if I'm going to play that or head to the Gold Coast to check out the casino. We'll see what happens, see how we feel in the morning. So as it turns out, I picked the wrong tournament to document. I didn't end up heading into the Gold Coast today to play at the casino. I ended up playing in a $33 buy-in deep stack tournament. So just while we're on that, I was going to play in the high roller event, but I didn't want to late reg. I ended up going to the beach in the morning and I spent a little bit more time there than I was planning. I don't really like late regging tournaments, so I decided just to stick around and wait for the next event, which was the $33 deep stack. I think they had around 130 entrants. Unfortunately, I wasn't recording today, so I didn't film any hands, I didn't take notes or anything. I ended up making a little bit of a deep run and I came third, which wasn't too bad. Here's a sneaky photo of us there on the right, wearing a fashionable green grandma jumper matched with a mustard coloured t-shirt. Gross.